One of my husband's friends made me uncomfortable at our wedding, but it's my own fault. Last weekend, my husband, 27 male, and I, 30 female, got married. It was a great wedding and I had a great time leading up to it. There's been only one thing that's left a sour taste in my mouth. Growing up, I always wanted a big princess wedding. I know some people see those as tacky and immature, but it was always my dream. As part of this, the theme for our wedding was ballroom, and I told everyone to wear the nicest things they owned and told the woman in particular to try to outshine me. I even went as far as telling the married women to wear their wedding dresses. I didn't care about being outdressed. Instead, all I wanted was to fulfill the aesthetic in my head that I had for the wedding, which included everyone else looking nothing less than extravagant. And no, before people ask, I don't regret my decision. It was really special to see my mum, aunts and bridesmaids all in their own dresses on my big day. It kind of felt like they were passing the torch on to me, and I really enjoyed the experience. Now on to my husband's friend. My husband has this friend, I'll call her Kate, 27, female. Kate is my husband's childhood friend and first love. My husband comes from a small town and the majority of his friends he's known since adolescence. In their senior year of high school, Kate and my husband got engaged, which is kinda normal where they're from, but called off the wedding and never went through with it. It was mutual. They felt they were growing up too fast and wanted to slow down. The calling off the wedding was the end of the relationship, but they stayed friends. I knew this information prior to getting with my husband and never had a problem or felt jealous because I'm friends with a few exes myself. In fact, 2 of them were invited to our wedding. One was my bridesmaid, I'm bisexual, and the other was invited as a guest along with his current girlfriend. I've never had a problem with Kate being my husband's ex, but I have had a problem with Kate as a person, as she's kind of bitchy and gossips like she's still in high school. A few examples of this are just a month into our relationship, she confessed to my husband she still had some lingering feelings, to which he responded they had already tried that and it didn't work. If she brought it up again, he would cut her off out of respect for me. I wasn't that mad at the time because I understood they had a long history and my relationship with him was just starting out, and she owed it to herself to see if there was anything still there before it was too late. However, after she was turned down, her attitude towards me changed to fake nice and started calling me things like cougar or asking me how I expected to make a relationship work, as I wanted to be an anesthesiologist, which would require long hours, or telling my husband's whole friend group how she doesn't like my loud personality. And when I confronted her about all of those things, she would just say, "Oh, it was just a joke," or "You're so loud, I felt like you would just go off." There's more stuff, but if I typed it all, I would never get to the point. Kate has her own husband, I'll call Gerald. Kate and Gerald both make average in terms of finances, as they are both teachers. Kate kindergarten and Gerald seniors. They got married last year. On a teacher's salary, Kate wasn't able to afford the most luxurious wedding dress out there, but I always had the impression she was happy with it. Kate does have another wedding dress from when she was going to marry my husband that her dad paid for, who has unfortunately passed now, which in terms of fanciness is a bit nicer, but obviously she didn't wear that dress to her own wedding. I was expecting Kate to wear the wedding dress she wore to her own wedding to our wedding, but when I looked and saw her, she had the wedding dress she was supposed to wear when she was getting married to my husband. When I saw her, I immediately went WTF. but decided to just drop it because I didn't want a conflict on our wedding day. My husband, however, was also confused on why she wore that one and asked her about it. Without me even having to tell him, I was uncomfortable. She responded, "Well, your wife wanted such a big princess wedding, I thought I'd wear this one because it follows the theme more. Don't tell me she's upset about it. She's the one who said come in your nicest clothes, and this is my nicest dress." I feel like I'm not allowed to be upset even though I am. And I know this is my fault, but the whole thing has really left a bad taste in my mouth. I would have never been okay with her wearing that one if I'd known she was going to. And I feel like she should have asked. I keep telling myself it's not that big of a deal. And during the daytime, when I'm distracted, I don't even think about it. But I've always been a night owl, and it makes me angry every time I think about it before I fall asleep. So now I'm here complaining on Reddit like a loser. I feel pathetic. So OP's wedding sounds really fun. I can imagine that all the guests absolutely loved getting dressed up in their old wedding dresses and really fancy in their ball gowns. And I guarantee the pictures are amazing. Definitely very different to most people on Reddit, where they have so many stories of people turning up in white or wedding dresses and stuff. So this is definitely a really different story. And as for OP's husband's friend, all I can say is yikes. That is very inappropriate, and that's saying something because OP doesn't really have many rules on her wedding. So I can understand why that didn't go down well, and I don't even know what even got into her head to even think that that was acceptable to do that. She just sounds like she only cares about number one and doesn't really care about OP's feelings at all. There is an update, so let's just go straight on to that now. Update. So I talked to my husband about it this morning, and when I brought it up, he immediately let out a sigh of relief. He said, "I didn't know how to bring it up because you didn't seem bothered, but when I saw her in that dress, I thought it was very weird she wore that one." He went on to say that he even considered asking her to leave because he thought it was rude. But because I had no reaction to the dress, he thought I either didn't care or didn't recognize it. But either way, if I wasn't bothered, he didn't want to disturb my peace of mind by kicking her out. We discussed it, and he's going to have a talk with her, not just about the dress, but her treatment of me in general, and explain that going forward, she will not be a friend in our lives. After this talk, I've decided to let it go and focus on my new marriage. This was a small thing, and now after I've talked it out with my husband, I feel kind of silly I let it bother me this much. I'm at peace, she will no longer be in our lives, and that's enough for me. Someone said you gave her the chance to wear the dress her dad got her and gave her a gift. That was kind of a moment for me, because no matter what her intentions were, that is true, and I'm glad she got to have that moment. End of update. The rest of this is just answering questions and explaining what the wedding dress looked like. A common asked question is, how did we even know what the dress looked like? I said it a few times in the comments, but I've seen it a couple of times before in her closet. Usually when my husband's friend group hangs out, the guys all get ready at one of their places and the girls get ready at one of our places. Then we all meet up to wherever we're going, whether that's a pub crawl, a concert, or music festival, etc. Kate hosts pretty regularly, and it's during those times I've seen it in her closet while she looks for something to wear. And when she got married to Gerald, she put her other wedding dress right next to the high school one. As for my husband, I asked him about that today, and he said when we broke up, Kate asked if he wanted to see the dress since there was no point in hiding it anymore, and he said yes. And then when they told their friends the news, the friends also wanted to see the dress, so she put it on for them too. On to the pictures. I'm not going to post any, but I will explain how it looked for those of you who wanted to know. So firstly, lots of people showed up in wedding dresses, and that was absolutely beautiful. One thing my friends from college did was do a 50s Marilyn Monroe type glam, and it was killer. One of the staff was able to find a red carpet, and we took a bunch of black and white photos of them. I had about 5 girls wear their quince dresses, which was gorgeous. Finally, some parents dressed their little girls up in actual princess costumes, which I thought was really cute. The guys also dressed really well too. One guy did a sequin tux. Quite a few went for a rock star type suit. My husband's best man went for this really gorgeous red velvet tux. And my dress was this really shimmery, really poofy ball gown type dress with a flower design on the veil that I got custom made for me, and then I had it designed where I could actually unattach the poofy part of the dress for the reception. And then by doing that, it turned into this long, sleek, white shimmery dress with a leg slit. So I'm glad that OP's husband had enough sense to see right through what his friend done and is now willing to cut her out of their lives for good. That is definitely one way to start off the marriage properly. And also, like most of the comments must have asked, I would have loved to have seen the pictures from the wedding. Obviously, I understand why she doesn't want to share them for the sake of privacy and every one of the guests' privacy, but I would have loved to have seen her dress, her husband's friend's dress, and also a picture of all the guests together, because I think that they all would have looked awesome. But is that something that you would do? Have a theme like that at your wedding? What do you think of themes in general? Personally, I don't really like themes. Ballroom, black tie themes I think are okay and pretty classy, but themes in general is not really a me thing. I'm not really into that, especially at weddings, but I know a lot of people do like them and have had themes at their weddings. So leave a comment below if you had a theme, and don't forget, if you did like this video, don't forget to give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and hopefully I'll see you all very soon.